Hey, what's going on, good people? Hopefully, this microphone is working. I'm using something new. And, hopefully, somebody will get in here and let me know that this thing is working. So, trying to up my game here a little bit. And so, this is just one of the newest things that I have added to the repertoire. So, welcome to the Russ Can Fly studio, aka my basement. And hopefully people are seeing me. I'm just trying to figure out, how to continue to, make sure that, I am upping my game and being, a good steward um, of everybody's time. So hopefully at some point I'll see in the comments, can people see me? So I see a couple people seeing and hearing you loud and clear. Excellent. I'm glad. Okay, so yeah, so I just, I have this microphone. Believe it or not, I actually have this microphone because my wife actually had it because she was going to do a podcast and decided that, that was something that she didn't want to do. But I will say that she is already moving in a different direction in terms of, what she's getting involved with. And I'm hoping to have an amazing announcement pretty soon in the next month as it relates to her journey. So let me say hi to a few folks, and we're going to dive in. And as you can see, I am just so excited. And that's why I wanted to use this microphone and all that kind of stuff because I wanted to make sure that this stuff was coming through pretty good. So I see Houston. What's going on? How you doing? Uh, and Melina, what's going on? One of my long term members of the channel. Thank you so much for your support. We've got Devin Sahir 7056 seeing and hear you loud. Thank you for that. Heads up. Skyboss 77, another member. What's up, bro? What's going on, man? Thank you so much for your membership. We got Tiny 21. We see you. Good. Sky Boss, it's Tremel. I see you, brother. Thank you so much. KD Johnson 5964. Wow, I finally caught alive. Happy 2026 to you as well. And I'm so glad that you actually caught alive. And so let's see. Looks like everybody is good to go. Seems like it's being heard and seen, which is great. And let me see. Tiny H2L says, glad that you decided to keep flying. Yes, I am. I am so thankful and I feel so blessed that I had the opportunity to fly still. We're going to talk a little bit more about that whole journey. I want to unpack that for you all a little bit because that was very interesting. But I definitely want to make sure I say all the highs and introductions. Let me see. We got Randy Teen 6936. My brother Russ, what's up? What's up to you, brother Randy? Thank you for joining in on the fun. Uh, Practical Chef 180. Remember, you're a great occupier of my time, at least because you're being fun and entertaining to smile while talking about seriousness of aviation. And that's true. And that's, that statement is very interesting because aviation is very serious. And one of the things that I'll say, and I'll digress for a second, I don't know if you guys remember, but this is the 1 year anniversary of that fatal accident from that medical transport plane that took off from Northeast Philadelphia Airport and crashed. And the real sad part of it was the child was brought to Philadelphia to go to Children's Hospital of Philadelphia to get a life-saving procedure. Um, and unfortunately, they took off, and literally, I think they said it's something like 22 seconds later, the airplane, and it was basically a missile. They were full power and just into the ground. Now, devastating, right? Absolutely devastating. that a baby lost her life after getting a life-saving procedure. Two airplane medical transport pilots lost their lives. And there were two people on the ground that also lost their lives. But I got to tell you, there's no easy way to talk about aviation tragedy. And since I'm not really well equipped to do that, I don't on my channel. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up now is because it's like I said, the last couple days, it's been in the Philadelphia metropolitan area. It's been heavy on people's minds because it's the 1 year anniversary. The beauty of it is the community that suffered the accident is recovering. And we pilots who are part of this amazing tapestry, this amazing family, we feel it too, but we just continue to encourage one another to continue to press on because aviation and aviators is a well worth it endeavor. We move people, we move packages, we respond to emergencies. And so yes, there are tragedies that happen, but what the industry brings, what pilots bring, what all of you all bring is joy in the midst of sadness sometimes. And so I just wanted to take that small, and I thank you for that comment, because I definitely wanted to just take a small pause to recognize that 1 year anniversary of that tragedy. And one of the things that's interesting is that I fly in and out of Northeast Philadelphia Airport as I've got friends that have airplanes over there. And one of the things that struck me was there are folks who work in that control tower, and there are other ATC controllers who were working that day, right? And so not only do you look at it from the fact of pilots, but somebody cleared that airplane for takeoff. And so that's why a lot of times I just say, let's pray, just pray for me and pray for them and pray for those who do this thing. Because, sometimes, some really challenging things can happen, but it still excites me so much, And so, yes, it is a very serious endeavor for sure, but well worth it. And every time I take off, I could be in the same set of circumstances, right? Something happens with that engine, only got one, or I hit a bird, but I wouldn't change it for the world. So thank you for that, because that allowed me to, reminded me that I needed to recognize the 1 year anniversary of that event, that folks are recovering, and we're moving forward. And there continues to be medical transports happening all the time, and lives, young lives, babies are being saved. Food supplies are being delivered. Your packages, if you order stuff online or whatever, they're showing up. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's UPS and FedEx and folks who get in the cockpit of really big airplanes, and there's not a human being on them except for the two pilots who are flying the airplane and your stuff. And they probably wouldn't trade it for the world. So let's go back. Let's see. Just want to read a few more. Let me see. We got KD Johnson 5964. Just KD is fine, Russ. Okay, I got you. And we've got NM 883. They're waving. Hi, Russ. It's Miss Emelina #1 here. Hey, what's going on? I got the whole family. That's awesome. And we got Aerial Photo Vito, recently new follower. Love the content. Thank you so much for taking the time to follow. Thank you for taking the time to watch these videos. Thank you for taking the time to comment. I really do appreciate it. When I first started this journey, based on the suggestion I got from my daughter, I never imagined that I would be so blessed with this amazing community. And the thing that's really fascinating to me is it's all different walks of life. Some people are pilots and have been pilots for 60 years. Some people are what I call Microsoft aviators, which is awesome. Because a lot of times people are giving me pointers about shooting an approach. They've never been in an airplane, but man, they shoot approaches all the time, in that environment. And that has really been amazing to me. But the one thing that's really fascinating is this folks that aren't aviators at all. They just support me in the community. And that is just so amazing. So I thank you so much. So let's jump into a few things that I wanted to mention. Many of you may be wondering, Russ, what's up with the instrument rating? Good question. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. I am as committed as ever to getting my instrument rating. Now, here's what's going on in real time. Because one of the things that I want people to understand is I do all my own stuff. I have no editor. I have no videographer. I have none of that kind of stuff. I do my own GoPros. I do my own editing. I do all that kind of stuff. So, and I'm working full time, and I'm a dad, and and a husband, and all that kind of stuff. So, this is kind of like a labor of love, but on the side, on the side, on the side, if you get what I'm saying. And so sometimes there's really a delay in when I do a flight and when I produce the video because it just takes me a long time. I'm not, well versed in editing. I think I'm getting better and I'm trying to even refine it a little bit. I always wanted to be me. That's why I'm always resistant a little bit to like reaching out to a video editor. Also, I ain't got the money. Let me be perfectly clear. I don't have money to employ somebody, and I really wouldn't want to, exploit anybody's talent. If somebody was going to use their talent, I want them to be paid. So there's usually a little bit of a delay. So having said that, I am still on track. But one of the things that has been happening of late is the weather. My gosh. So I did a training flight about 2 weeks ago. Me and the CFII went up. We're doing a hold over a VOR on a particular radio. So over VORs, you got radios that shoot out, basically think of like, radio frequencies or whatever. And the airplane is able to pick up each of those 100, 181, 182, all the way around the 360 dial. So we're shooting this. So I'm doing this hold, and the air currents were crazy. It was like really turbulent. And I had an air pocket, and the plane like bucked so violently, both of us hit our heads on the ceiling of the airplane. Now, I've seen videos of people doing that, but I had never really, I had, hit some turbulence before, but I never like left my seat. Well, this one, I literally left my seat, hit my head. Both of us had headaches. So something about the jet stream or wind currents or whatever it is, it's not only that it's been cold and snowing. I mean, Philadelphia metropolitan area got more snow than it gotten in about 10 years. And it's been cold. So all of that, I think, foot of snow, it's all out there, because one night I went to walk the dog, it was 4 degrees. That's just not Philadelphia weather. So the weather has been crazy. And so then you put into that as well, sometimes the flight instructors, sick or not available, whatever. And you guys all know about that little wing thing. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, there's been a lot of delays. And I can't lie to you. There's been times where I've thought about, what, is the juice worth the squeeze? But the thing that I do know is the answer is yes, because it's just going to unlock a safety factor for me in terms of the way that I'm flying and how I'm flying. It's just going to be safer. It's more predictable. I'm in the system. I'm being watched by ATC, and I'm flying with greater precision. And I'm so glad that I'm doing this training and learning this system of instrument meteorological conditions. It has made me such a better pilot. And so, but the other reason is I want to start going places, and we're going to talk about where I plan to go in 2026, because anywhere that I go, and if you see me, please, ma'am, please, sir, come up to me and say hi and let's talk and let's get excited and let's jump in circles, because this the idea of, like, I don't know, flying to Oklahoma and landing at some airport and running into somebody like, "Hey, Russ, how you doing?" I mean, I live for the day. That is just like that. That to me is the Super Bowl, right? I get more excited about meeting new people and seeing new places and all that kind of stuff. So I can't wait to be able to do that. That's the reason for the instrument rating, because I definitely feel a lot more limited being a VFR only pilot. Now, that's not to say I can fly in anything once I'm instrument rated. Still going to have to make very good choices about no go, go, or go, no go decisions as it relates to the weather. But I just know that it will just open up some windows that right now I would just be precluded from doing. There's a 1,000-foot ceiling of, like, um, broken layer or whatever at Doylestown, and I'm just stuck, or I'm somewhere else and I'm just stuck. So those are the types of things that I can't wait. So I'm committed to it, but it's definitely been difficult. Where am I now in terms of my training? So believe it or not, I am 38 hours of simulated and zero point 0.5 hours of actual. Yes, I have flown in the clouds on a flight plan with the instructor. And here's what's kind of crazy. And I know I keep jumping around. It's my ADHD. I didn't even know it was happening because I was so focused, like, on the airplane instruments. And at one point, I noticed that the instructor said, "Are you okay?" And I couldn't understand why they were asking me that question. And it was because for, basically a half an hour, we were flying in the clouds, or however long it was for it to be zero point 0.5. And people who do math, you do math. But yeah, so now, what does that mean? What that means that 38. So I need 2 more hours of simulated time, and I can actually do it on a simulator before I have my required 40 hours of instrument time, be it simulated or in actual. And so that's one box that I've checked. So I've got 2 boxes that I've already checked. Well, 3. One, the written is out of the way. I've got that done. 2, I've got 50 hours of cross country PIC time, so that box is checked. More than that, actually. And there's a video coming up pretty soon, so just want to telegraph that because there's something coming up really special. So look for that. But 3, I'll be checking off this 40-hour requirement, which 15 of which needs to be with a flight instructor, which is great. The last thing I need to do is there is a 250 nautical mile cross country that I need to do, where you do 250 nautical miles and you do a approach or a different approach at each airport. So that's going to be coming up. So I'm getting close. So if it's not this month, I'm praying early March for my check ride. I'm so excited. Anyway, so that's where we are. So I've been fighting steadily, and there's been a couple times where I didn't think this was going to happen, especially with the wing thing. And all of that kind of stuff. But I am making progress, and good Lord willing, this check ride will be happening in the next 3 to 4 weeks, or somewhere around that time frame. All right, so let's dig into some comments. Let's see. Skyboss, Russ, my FAA medical is still in review. They said I needed to send reevaluating my A1C. Interesting. No diabetes. I'm waiting on my medical certificate. Interesting. Make sure you stay on top of them. And here's what I'm going to say, Brother Tremel. If you haven't already, you should reach out to AOPA. They can definitely help you continue to navigate this issue. Don't try to do it on your own. Hopefully, you got some sort of advocacy behind you, because, yeah, that can get to be a little bit problematic if you're trying to deal with, the bureaucracy that is the FAA in terms of medicals. So that would be something I would definitely suggest. Practical Chef, I've been watching a ton of accident investigation videos, and sometimes it just gets too much. And that's where you come in regarding aviation for the bright side. I'm glad that that's, I can, present that, that brighter, lighter side. And listen, I don't want to be like the Bobby McFerrin song, right? Don't worry, be happy. Because like you guys said, aviation is serious business, but it's also awesome. It's, tragedies happen in every walk of life, but they're also awesome, right? And so aviation is no different. So I'm glad that you find that this is a good respite from some of the, more challenging aspects of aviation. Let's see. Thanks to aviation and my determination to fly. Yep, I see you, Brother Tremel. Katie Johnson, I understand the craziness with the weather. This morning, the temperature in Gulfport, Mississippi was 14 degrees. Holy smokes. And we just finally hit 40 degrees. Wow, that's freezing. Russ Can Fly, IFR, new channel. Neil, what's going on, brother? Now, this brother Neil, I mean, he flies basically a jet with a propeller. It's a Mooney of some variety. I forget what it's called. But basically, he's like, he can compete with the airlines for sure. But hey, what's going on, brother Neil? Good to see you. Houston, you should definitely get Microsoft Flight Simulator to practice your IFR at home. I agree. And that's definitely something that I'm looking into. I'm not really tech savvy. So definitely going to be working with one of my brothers who knows a lot more about all of this stuff, including microphones and cameras and all that kind of stuff. So, but that's definitely something I want to do, because even after I get my instrument rating, I want to continue to stay not just current, but proficient in my ability to shoot approaches and stuff like that. And that's a way to do it, certainly when the weather's not that great. Brother Neil, you should definitely get, yeah. And so let me see, and no vertigo, you just never know if you're one of the people that succumb to it until you do it. Wow. Practical Chef, come to Sun and Fun 2026. Hold that dot. I'm a member. Good. So make sure you reach out. Oh, Mooney Turbo Rocket. Yeah, but Termel, definitely reach out to AOPA. Good. I'm glad you're a member. I'll be happy to help you with that. Okay, that'd be great. All right, so what's on the horizon? So this is crazy. That's why I wanted to go live. This is so crazy. So I am assuming that I'm getting my instrument rating, right? Okay. So one of the things that I have to confess, I don't tell anybody, one of the things that I have to confess is, if you ever track my flights, you will notice that I've never flown more south than, and I don't know if Virginia or Maryland were the further south. It's one of the two, right? But I've never flown further than that. Why is that? One, that DC cifra scares the mess out of me. I've taken the training. I've done all that. I still don't understand what the hell these people are talking about. You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to go in this gate and all that. I just it just scares me. And then, at first I was under the mistaken impression that if you're within 30 nautical miles of the DC CIFRA, you need to be talking to those people. So that really freaked me out. But I have realized the error of my ways. And it's just like any class Bravo, I believe that you need to have certain equipment in the airplane in order to be within 30 nautical miles of the DC CIFRA. But that whole big red target scares the mess out of me. The other thing is in the South, well, right now you guys are freezing, as you just heard my brother, the person from Mississippi. Normally, it's a little warmer, so you get those pop-up thunderstorms and stuff. So that kind of freaks me out. But that's why I'm hoping with instrument rating that will open up, because I plan to be at Sun and Fun for 2026. Let's go! So yes, I am planning to go to Sun and Fun this year. That is definitely on the radar screen. And one of the things that, I definitely want to do is meet as many people as possible. But wait, there's more. So I don't know what possessed me to do this. I will tell you, aviation has made me absolutely nuts in terms of what I believe I should try to do. So there is a gentleman, Peacoat, Pictot. And actually, there's a video that he has where he interviews me, and maybe I'll put that in the link to the description because I don't think he's on. But he has gone to Sun and Fun many times before, and he did something that I thought was interesting that I thought I would give a try. Now, it's kind of crazy. Why would I do this? But why not? So, what he does when he goes, he gets press privileges. And when he said that, I went, what does that mean? So, out of curiosity, I checked it out. I went on to Sun and Fun's webpage and I saw something about press or something like that. I clicked on it and it says, if you want to get press privileges, apply. And I did. And sorry, it chokes me up. I got him. Can you believe it? Russ Can Fly YouTube channel has press privileges for Sun and Fun 2026. Now, the reason why I mention that is because now it makes me more committed than ever that I am going. But the other thing that it allows me to do is it allows me to interview organizations, people, places, things. I mean, I am just so excited about the possibilities and what I'll be able to do while I'm there. So that's why I wanted to come on live and let you guys know. You heard it here first. You're hearing it here first before the video even comes out, that Russ Can Fly will be down there as a press organization. Well, who's Russ Can Fly? That'd be me. So it'll just be me. But yeah, I will have press privileges. Now, I'm not exactly sure what all that means, but I am definitely going to be interviewing a few organizations down there. One that I definitely am going to do is I'm going to Piper, and I just want to go talk to those folks about being a Piper owner, kind of like some history, maybe talk about the Fury, because I'm sure they may have one of those down there, and just that whole, lineage of Piper aircraft. And then I want to go talk to some of the folks who do experimental. Now, I didn't catch any flack necessarily from my video called Is It Worth It? Where I talk about the fact that I really And if you haven't seen that video, check it out. That's my latest. It was actually this upload Friday. But at any rate, I make the case that yes, it is worth it to buy used certified aircraft, right? Because of Mosaic and some other things that are changing in the experimental world and the light sport world, and the fact that, that industry tends to be a little less expensive as it relates to parts and parts availability and all that kind of stuff. It seemed to raise the question, is it even worth bothering with, this aging fleet of certified aircraft? I make the argument, and you can watch the video and tell me down in the comments whether or not I make a cogent argument. But I make the argument that yes, it is still worth it. I am so happy that I have Charlie in my life, and I'm not trying to talk smack about Sling or RV vans or any of these other, kit plane things or whatever. But I just make the case that, I think it's still worth it. So if you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. But one of the things I definitely want to do is talk to some of those, organizations. And I want to go sit in a Sling. I've seen them. They look a little small to me, but I'm not sure. So those are all the things that I want to do. And I thought that I would make that announcement here, so that you all would hear it first, and know that I'm going to be there and I'm going to be looking for people. So let's see. Congrats, Jay Styles. What's up, Russ? I'm late, but hope to see you at Fun and Sun. Yep, you will. Jay Styles, Sky Boss, awesome. Congratulations. Practical Chef, you're famous and don't even know it. At least infamous. Let's see. We got B.W. Haskell. Russ, how much snow did you get down there? I think, and Neil, you might be able to help me, even though you're in New Jersey, but you're close enough. I think this area was somewhere like 10 to 14 inches. The problem is it wasn't just snow. It turned over to sleet, in some instances, like freezing rain or whatever. So it's just ice. And so, like, even now, today, it's been, I think, a week. That stuff is still out there because it's ice, and it's been 14 degrees, 4 degrees, 12 degrees, wind chills below zero, and all this kind of stuff. So for Philadelphia, it doesn't sound like a lot, because I lived in Syracuse, and then you used to get feet of snow, like nobody's business, because of that stuff coming off the lakes. But this was a lot for Philadelphia. So that's probably, how much we got there. Sky Boss, I'm there. I was gonna fly myself down. If you don't want to go alone or don't have a wingman right seat, I can fly with you and get one of your bros. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to be talking, Brother Neil. And, I'm definitely going to be reaching out to some of the other folks, that see if, anybody wants to come with a brother. And Mr. Skyboss, Mr. Trammell, thank you so much for that giving you just done. That really does help grease the skids on this whole Sun and Fun and all those types of things. I thank you so much. Yes, Neil, Josh Aviation 101 just built his Sling. You can talk to him. If I see him, he's definitely going to be somebody I'm going to say, hey, listen, I want to do a serious sit down with you and interview you. And that will be one of the Russ Can Fly videos. So that's one of the things I want to have, like a whole series. Now, I think I'm only planning to be there for 2 days. Because I don't want to jump in the deep end too hard. So I know maybe like a whole week is going to be a little bit too much for me. And plus, I want to come in and leave on less active days, if that makes sense. Because like I said, I know people who have they just get their private pilot's license and they fly to Oshkosh on the busiest day. That's because they're crazy. I am not crazy. I am risk adverse. I like to be safe. So, but you guys will definitely know when everything is happening and all of that kind of stuff, and where I'll be stopping for fuel and all that kind of stuff, and when, because I'm hoping to listen, 2026 is the year I want to meet as many people in the aviation community and and beyond as possible. So I really want to make that happen. Um, Practical Chef, you should do a video on what you could have gotten for the same price with an experimental aircraft. Excellent suggestion. Excellent suggestion. Okay, definitely gonna actually let me write that down real quick because that is a wonderful suggestion. And if you don't know, here's my little. This is my production log. This is what my production log looks like. So I always keep that just in case. But thank you for that. That's an excellent suggestion. Let me see. So O'Neill Hill 8 to 10 inches. We got 12 inches in Charlotte, and now I think that was just a day or the last couple of days. I would imagine. Seventh Ward Lord 59, been watching you since before I got my PPL, and now I'm about to get my commercial. Love your videos. That is awesome. Congratulations. Everybody give Seventh Ward Lord 59 some love. That is amazing. And to go from private pilot to commercial, that's a lot of work. So congratulations. That is awesome. Iron Mike Dyson 69. Hey Russ, got my private in December. Thanks for being an inspiration. Iron Mike, that is awesome. Congratulations. Feel really good about your accomplishment. You and I both know it takes a lot to get a private pilot's license. And so kudos to you. BW Haskell, I'll be flying my new to me Mooney M20J down to Sun and Fun this year. All right. Can't wait to see you. Definitely will be looking for you. Neil Hill, I'll probably be there with Bruno. He'll know Josh's schedule. I'm flying into Tampa Executive, having a car, easy to get in and out. Interesting. Okay. We definitely got to talk, Brother Neil, because, I'm a neophyte. I'll be new to all of this. So any advice that I could get, definitely are gonna, appreciate it for sure. Crooklyn Pilot. What's up, Brother Neil Hill? Sky Boss. He's waving and sending me emojis. I love it. Let's see. We got Crooklyn Pilot. What's up, Brother Russ? Get that IFR ticket. Definitely working on it for sure. So here's the next thing that I wanted to talk about. You can see, there's so much exciting stuff that's happening. And I couldn't figure out how to put it in a